from the Minister's office that she won't be able to join us this morning, Chair. Those are the only apologies I've received.
No, thank you very much. Mr. Brown, can you flight the agenda for us? Okay, we have minutes of the 20th of September, and then we have the Mpumalanga Oversight report, and then we have the Seekoegat report, and then after that we are we not supposed to table the program for the next term's report, so that we are able to adopt it. Can I have hands that adopts the agenda?
Chairperson,
Principal.
my hand is up.
I
I rise to move that. I rise, Mududa Studio, to move that this agenda be adopted as is.
Any seconder? Honorable Advance.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members, and good morning to the staff. I move to second the adoption. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Llewellyn, can you take us to the minutes of the 20th?
Before he does, I want to set the agenda. Thank you.
You want to do what? You want to report you are in?
No, I want to set the agenda.
You want us to know that you are inside?
Yeah, travel in paradise.
All right. On the 20th of September, we had a briefing from the department on their first quarterly report, and then we considered the minutes of the 13th of September. We were supposed to consider the Mpumalanga Oversight report, but we could not, and the Seekoegat Primary School petition. So page 1, we have the attendance of members. Page 2, it's the attendance DPE. Page 3, it's our staff and the bodies that were there. We opened the meeting, and then we welcomed everybody. The delegation was led by the Deputy Minister, and then the agenda was seconded. We had an address from the Deputy Minister, and then we had an address from the Director General. And then we were briefed on the first quarterly report, which was done by Ms. Monambi and the CFO, Mr. Kuno. We considered the minutes of the 13th of September. And then when we had to do the reports, because of time constraints, we had to shift them for the meeting of today. And then we adjourned the meeting at 1:06. Any corrections? In the absence of corrections, can we then adopt the minutes, Honorable Advance?
No, Chair, I heard you said something about the Auditor General.
No, I did not speak of the Auditor General.
Is it? Then I move to adopt the minutes.
Listen to us here in the meeting, not to other things.
No, that's why I said I thought you mentioned, and I don't remember having Auditor General in the meeting, but it's fine.
I never mentioned Auditor General. Honorable Itzia?
Thank you very much. Good day, Chairperson. Good day, honorable members. At least this time I'm moving to second and not to third. This minutes, I think Honorable Advance is being sabotaged. Thank you very much, Chair.
It's sabotaged by who? When have you heard me saying an Auditor General here?
No, you did not, Chair, but I'm just saying because these systems, you don't know how they work. There might be some interference.
No, it's fine. Can we then move to the Mpumalanga Oversight Report? We had an oversight to Mpumalanga from the 21st to the 26th of August. And we went to all the districts in the province, the Buhlabela, the Ehlanzeni, the Hartsbande, and Ngangala. And we monitored all these that are listed here, the state of the admission, the LTSM, the utilization of education assistance, and so on and so on. And 1.4, it is dealing with the purpose of our oversight was to monitor and oversee the overall state of schooling in the province. And for the oversight visit, the committees, they were also alerted. We invited the SGBs, the SAPA, the PEDs, the legislature, and all the stakeholders that deal with the education issues. That is the delegation that went to Mpumalanga. And then that is the oversight in Buhlabela. Those are the schools that we have visited. Ehlanzeni, we have visited those schools. Hartsbande, those schools, and Ngangala, those other schools. So this is per school. This is Tsakane, their profile. Those are the observations and questions. And then those are our recommendations with regards to Tsakane. And then we had, can you just go back a little? The Pulaneng Education Development Center, okay. The Teacher Development Center that we went to. And then those are the challenges that are listed. And then those are the observations and questions we have made and responses from the center. And those are our recommendations. Then there was a visit to Quartile Secondary School. That's the profile and the background of the school. And then challenges. And then our observations and questions, those are responses. And then the committee's recommendations. And then there was a visit to Alfred Machine, Med Science Technology School. Those are the challenges. And then the observations, the recommendation, and then there's the Likete Technical School. And then we went also to Didi Mabuza Comprehensive High School. Went to Silindokutlepe Special School. Those are the challenges. And then we went to Silamafa Secondary School. Those are the challenges. And then Eluyengweni Primary School. Then we went to Kutsala Primary School. Those are the challenges. Went to side. Went to the district teacher development center. Mpuluzi. Then the Bonginsimbi Comprehensive School. Bonginsimbi Comprehensive School. And we went to Tandukolo Special School. Then we went to OR Tambo Math Science and Technology Academy. And then those are the recommendation. We also had an engagement with the department when we were there at Titi Mabuza School. So we had an address from the from the MSc, Honorable Majuba. And then a presentation which was done by the HOD, Moyane. So these are the stakeholders that were in the meeting. It was NASGB, it was SAO, it was NATU, it was FEDSAS, it was SAPA, it was PEU, and they all had an opportunity to say something in the meeting. So our recommendations then, our overall recommendations then is that having engaged with Mpumalanga Department of Education, the committee recommended that the Minister of Basic Education in collaboration with the Mpumalanga Department of Education, ensure adequate engagement and consultation with the relevant communities and stakeholders in respect of rationalization or merging of schools affected these communities. This included issues of scholar transport, teaching allocations, and budget. They must ensure with schools with infrastructure challenges, the pit latrines, unsafe structures, classroom shortages, ablution facilities shortages, fit for purpose, structure, etc., receiving priority attention from the department. Ensure the filling of vacant posts of subject teachers, teacher assistants, and principal is fast-tracked. They must ensure consideration for budget allocation to be made for training development centers. They must ensure schools with declining learner numbers are supported and assisted with initiative to attract more learners. They must ensure systems are in place to track, trace, and retain learners in the system, especially those that may have failed and dropped out of the system. They must ensure plans for a technical high school in every circuit was realized by June 2023. They must ensure that the necessary interventions in respect of the following: the Alfred Mashiane, there must be appointment of the science teacher to be prioritized 60 days after the adoption of the report. For exit and retiring teachers, succession planning should be in place to ensure initiatives that attract and employ new younger teachers in view of possible teacher resignation and retirements. The identification of school to be converted to MST schools should be a consultative process that involves parents, learners, SGB, and community. Such schools must be provided with consistent support. So these then are, that's the overall recommendation. And then these are school-based recommendations. I'm not gonna go them by one. That is Tsakane, that is Mpumalanga, that is Ngwaritsane, that is Alfred Mashiane, that is Likete, that is DT Mabuza, that is Silendogoshe Special School, and that is Siglamafa, that is Eluyengweni, Kutsala Primary School, Site Primary School, Puluzi District Teacher Development Center, Bonginkose Comprehensive High School, Tandikolo Special School, the OR Tambo Mathematics, Science and Technology Academy. And then on conclusion, then we're saying the oversight visit to Mpumalanga Department of Education provided the portfolio committee with an opportunity to monitor, support, and learn from the good work and practice and best practices of the department, as well as ascertain the functionality of schooling system in the province for the academic year. The findings and recommendations contained in this report should help to assist the district and province to improve on schooling in general, as well as strengthen areas related to basic functionality. And then the appreciation is that the delegation, which was led by myself, to thank the members of the Mpumalanga Provincial Department of Education and the National Department of Basic Education for their support given during the oversight report. The team also extended appreciation and thanks to the teacher unions, the SGBs, for taking their time to meet with the committees and share their experiences and challenges. So this is the report, honorable members, which we are going to take it to the House for consideration and adoptions. Any corrections? Honorable Tia? Honorable Tia, your hand is up.
Yeah,
I think it's a legacy hand.
no, Principal, I'm capable of speaking for myself.
Ask his honorable Litie.
No. I'm joking, Chair. I'm joking, Principal. I can only joke with you with that joke because it might be sensitive to others, but I knew you'd understand. Chair, when we were, I think, at Didi Mabuza,
Okay.
yeah, we had an interaction with the unemployed teachers from that area. I think it's in Commerce, who raised their issues with us outside. We raised because they were not speaking there. We asked the department to clarify the allegations that they were making. I see that the last part, it says you must consider the utilization and accommodation of unemployed PGC graduate. Should be PGCE, I think, graduates there. But these graduates, Chair, it's not necessarily PGCE. Some of them have studied education as a degree. But the issues they were raising was that, one, they were not those teachers who graduated outside of Funza Leshaka, meaning some of them are NSFAS teaching graduate, not PGCE, but teaching general, teaching graduates. They are not considered. Some of them are self-funded teachers who graduated in teaching generally and not, they did not study BSc and then did a one-year PGCE. The department, I think it was the HOD then, said she will investigate and come back to us. So I think the recommendation should be clear that the department is to give us a feedback on unemployed teachers who are not Funza Lushaka graduates, the feedback on that. Thank you very much. And I think, let us just put it that way. It's not necessarily only PGCE, but it's other general teachers who are self-funded and NSFAS graduate who believe that when in the department, when there are no Funza Lushaka graduates available, the department blocks posts. Thank you very much, Chair. That was the only addition I thought must just be augmented. Other than that, if there are no others who have issues, okay, maybe lastly, just the report does not also show, Chair, that hey, we traveled a lot. We traveled the length and we were tired. They will arrive in hotels at 10 p.m. finished. So I think maybe somewhere we must acknowledge that members of parliament work hard. They travel 500 kilometers without any other.
Man, we went there knowing very well we are going to work.
Yeah, and others,
So
others
we
got
can't
sick.
complain now.
Others got sick, Chair. I don't see that thing there. I move for the adoption of the report.
It's not only your hand that is up.
Oh, I
think other
apologize.
people want to.
I will come back.
Honorable Atwoods.
Thank you very much, Chair. I want us to also include or even highlight the challenges of the special schools. I might not have been in the entire oversight trip, but some of the schools, they had challenges. Some of them were similar challenges. But I want us maybe to highlight that there's a need to support or give support and in assisting special schools because some of them, they had like very serious and genuine issues that they were raising of their teachers. They did not have enough teachers. Some they did not have classrooms. And some of them highlighted the issue of not being able to do practicals because the schools that they were in, they were not having such equipments for learners to do practicals in in their premises. So those are some of the challenges I think we need to also to include and highlight for both the department and the province to assist with. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Van der Walt.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, colleagues. Yeah, Chair, I'd just like to add what Honorable Aduans just said. I think at the end of the report, it states that we, look at the successes, the benchmarking, but also put in something about the challenges experienced and how we will have follow-up reports on those challenges. For example, I might just say to build a technical school in each of that district that was mentioned by 2023 is not necessarily going to be achieved, because a technical school can only be called a technical school when it's well equipped as well after it's been built. So yeah, it's not only the successes and benchmarking, it's also on how to deal with the challenges and other staffing matters in that education department itself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Van der Walt. Principal?
My beloved chairperson and the entire team on this all-important platform. Yeah, man, my eyesight might be failing me, but I want you to assist and those with sharp eyesight. If there is any capture or on the issue, the day we left DD Mabuza Technical School, our team visited a special school, and one of the major challenge that we found there was the ablution facilities, pit toilets for the school of the partially blind and partially hearing impairment. So we were touched to an extent that we made a recommendation to the department that they must act very swiftly. I stand to be corrected if that is captured there, and if it is captured, so all is well, that which is well. But I need to be convinced that it is captured.
Okay. Llewellyn, I'm not sure if you managed to pick up all the corrections that members have.
So far, yes, Chairperson. Thanks very much. I'm almost set. I'm just trying to identify that school that Honorable Murawat Shetla is referring to. I think it was a special school that we visited, and I'm sure that I captured something regarding that issue, because it was quite a contentious issue that members raised at that special school regarding the toilets and the distance from the toilets and the amount of toilets. I'm just trying to find that. If members can assist me with the name of that school, that might assist me. No, it wasn't that. But I have captured, Chairperson, and I'll come back to Honorable Murawat Shetla on that one.
Lizzie, can you come back and adopt the report with all the amendments?
Of course. Good morning. Dr. Murawat Shetla, please lower your hand, Principal. Yes, thank you.
Today you're all over me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no. Good morning again, Chair and honorable members and those on the platform. My name is Tebo Kholitie. With the amendments, I move for the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any seconder?
My hand is up, though I was instructed to lower it. But thank you very much.
So you must wait for another instruction to
yeah, no. Thank you very much, Muluda Studio. I rise to support that this is one of the most elegant, gallant, and ostentatious report, which I move to second. Thank you.
Siyabonga,
Aibo.
yeah, and principal, the Mpumalanga report now is adopted by the committee. We will take it to the House. Can we go to the Seekoegat petition, Llewellyn? Thank you, members. We had a petition that was from one of our members, Honorable Sukers, regarding the closure of the Seekoegat primary school. And the petition, I must just mention that it was sent to the speaker. It was sent to the speaker, and the speaker then referred it to us because it's relevant to our committee. And then we dealt with this petition on Tuesday, the 3rd of May. The committee, we convened a meeting to consider the petition, and then of Honorable Sukers, which is calling for the reopening of Seekoegat Primary School. The committee initiated the meeting to receive a briefing and engage the petition by the following stakeholders. We had Honorable Sukers presenting. We had a representative of the community from Seekoegat, and then we had the Western Cape Education Department, as well as the Department of Basic Education. So that is the submission that was made by Honorable Sukers. I'm not going to go through it. We were all in the meeting. And then we had a submission which was done by the Western Cape Education Department. It was Mr. Lewis and Mr. Janjis. And then they briefed us on, okay. And then just go back again. Okay, so I think okay, it's fine. Go back again. They have briefed us on what has happened as the Western Cape. So we then had our own observations and questions when we met with the Western Cape and DPE. And then these are the responses from Honorable Sukers, from the Western Cape Education Department. And then we then concluded that we must have a department coming to brief us on their rural education and rationalization of small and non-viable schools. And that presentation we had on the 6th of September. Then they briefed us as DPE. And then we had our observations and questions to DPE. And then we had responses. which were led by the DG, Ms. Gaya, Mr. Ndlebe, and then on our recommendations, we have said that the committee have considered the petition from Honorable Sukers on the closure of Seekoegat Primary School, referred to the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education by the Speaker of the National Assembly for consideration, recommendation that the Minister of Basic Education and the Department of Basic Education, in collaboration with the Western Cape Education Department, they must engage the Western Cape Education Department to request, collect, and report on the status and progress in respect of the rationalization process to date, that is with school numbers and challenges within 60 days after the adoption of a report. They must submit a detailed report on the statistical figures and identified schools targeted for closure or merging, as well as the figures for educators who were likely to be negatively affected or retrenched. They must initiate and commission adequate in-depth research on rationalization, merging, and closure of schools and the impact on relevant stakeholders. They must submit a report on the socio-economic impact assessment as required by the Cabinet when any policy was released for public comment. The report on the role, they must report on the role and responsibility of the district implementation teams in respect of the support to learners and parents moving from rural or farm schools into the new schools, as well as a report on the review of poverty index of the newly merged schools before the end of fourth school calendar term in December 2022. They must ensure the implementation of the pillars of the framework was adequately monitored and administered, especially in rural areas. They must ensure consideration to be given to strategies to utilize qualified unemployment youth in rural communities. They must ensure adequate allocation of a budget for Rural Education Directorate. They must ensure interdepartmental collaboration with sister departments in respect of the effective implementation of the Rural Education Framework. They must ensure adequate appeals mechanisms are in place to allow for appeals to the MEC regarding the rationalization of the schools. They must ensure all challenges in the implementation of the Rural Teacher Initiative was adequately addressed. And then the Western Cape Education Department submitted a report on schools with similar learner enrollment number who were not being targeted for closure rationalization. Western Cape Education Department must address and assist learners with challenges pertaining to accommodation and uniforms for relocating to new schools. And they must also consider alternatives to school closure and found ways to assist the schools and learners with more flexible accommodation of the challenges faced at Seekoegat Primary School. As an interim measure, the Western Cape Department must consider registration of school as an independent school until such time that policies and regulation could be amended or reviewed to accommodate rural farm schools. Ensure the tracing, retention of learners who may be dropped out of the system. And then we had an appreciation there, which we thanked the Western Cape Education Department, the National Department of Basic Education, the community representative of the Seekoegat Primary School, and the petitioner, Honorable Sukers, for the fruitful engagement on the petition submitted. So that is the report, honorable members. Can I note corrections? Honorable Sukers.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I want to bring to the notice of the committee a few issues. There's a few issues that I want to add to the report, but there's a letter that I have sent, I think 2-3 weeks ago, to you, Chair, that I would just want to read into the record. And before I do that, Chair, I want to highlight to the committee that the issue of this issue touches on a number of issues that just doesn't affect the basic education, but it affects other departments as well when it comes to the closure of schools and the impact that it has. We cannot look at it in isolation. And I think today in the debate specifically on social development and the fourth quarterly report, I am raising some of the issues that I am raising now in the committee. It should be noted by the committee, as was read into the report, what was presented by the Western Cape Education Department in terms of the closing of the school. And if I remember correctly, Chair, you even at the end, when I think it was Mr. Lewis, in his conclusion said that they would look at other alternatives, and he excluded the reopening of the school. You still said, no, go back to the closure of the school. Why is the reopening of the school not part of the alternatives that are being looked at? You need to go right back. And I'm bringing this to the notice of the committee because in the letter, Chair, with your permission, can I read this letter into the record so that the committee be aware of the most important issue, which is the closing of the school as it was presented and the information that was presented to this committee and supported by the National Department when they presented on the national rural education, what they now call framework. With your permission, Chair, can I continue to read the letter, or shall Llewellyn read the letter as it was referred to you?
No, it's fine. You can read it, Honorable Sukers, no problem.
So I'm going to leave the preliminaries and say the following. So you may recall that in my questions on Tuesday, I raised the issue that it has come to my attention that despite the statements made by officials of the Western Cape Education Department that Seekoegat VGK Primary School had been closed, it has since become clear that the school was not officially closed until May of 2022. The details are included below. At our meeting, the Western Cape Education Department presented the following information. Point 1, at this meeting on the 7th of February 2022, referring to above-mentioned meeting, Honorable Sukers was accompanied by a delegation. An appeal was made to the HOD to reopen the school. Mr. Walters explained that neither he nor the minister has appeal authority on the closure of a school. The only recourse is a competent court of law. Point 3, the school was closed on the 31st of December 2021, and provision was made by the WCED to place the learners appropriately at other schools. The process around the minister's decision was explained as follows. Even though the consultation process was concluded in 2020, and though the MEC indicated an intention to close the school on 31st December 2020, the school could not close by 31st December 2020 as the submission requesting the final closure reached the MEC only in 2021. The MEC then signed the submission on 25 February 2021, and she indicated that the closure be done subject to the fact that the school now only closes on the 31st of December 2021, and that parents be informed immediately by the district and be assisted to reassure them of the safety and beneficial impact for their children if the children moved to a bigger school. I would like for all the parents in this committee to underline safety and beneficial impact. In point 3, another submission was elevated to the MEC on 17 March 2021, and this submission was signed off on 17 May 2021, in which the MEC added a rider that her approval is subject to the receipt of a report on consultation. This report was submitted to the head office as requested by the MEC in September 2021. The MEC's decision prevailed. The relevant section of the recording is at 1.10.27. However, this is what I want this committee to note. My staff recently came across the following notice in the Provincial Gazette. I, Deborah Ann Schaefer, Provincial Minister of Education in the Western Cape, under Section 18 of the Western Cape Provincial School Educations Act 1997, read with Section 33 of the South African Schools Act. I'm leaving some parts out for sake of time. Close Seekoegat Primary School located in Prince Albert in the Eden Central Karoo Education District on the 31st of May 2022. It is signed at Cape Town on this 12th day of May 2022. It is unclear if the officials were aware of the fact that Seekoegat had not been closed when they told the committee that it had been closed, and that the closure of the school was only gazetted on the 12th of May 2022. Additionally, why, if the WCED interprets closed as meaning something differently to officially closed by way of notification in the Gazette, they did not explain this to the committee. And if the fact is that the WCED only became aware that the closure of the school had not been gazetted and became aware of this later, who within the WCED and the Western Cape Ministry was informed, and why was the committee not informed? I have approached the MEC, the Western Cape Minister of Education, on this issue, but have only received a general answer. This is not a merely administrative matter, as the SG of the WCED refused to provide feeding at the school from January to the end of May 2022 on the basis that the school had been closed. This meant that the poor community had to fund the feeding of these children. Then in addition, there was 12,000 Rand in the Seekoegat bank account. It was requested that this money be used to pay the Eskom bill, but the officials refused on the basis that the school had been closed. Therefore, may I respectfully request that this matter be brought before the committee, investigated and raised in the report. Thus is my submission, Chair, only with the omissions of the technical, obviously, dates and sections that was quoted in the letter. I want to put it to the committee that Mr. Ndlebe, in his submission, had a slide to the committee in which he said the following conditions had to be met once a school closes, or once the department closes a school. He mentioned the issue of the human resources and the consultation, and the issue of transport. I want to raise it to this committee, as was mentioned and said by the committee, by the Pastor Willie in his submission to this committee. On the day that the school opened, there was no transport plan in place for learners. That's a point that the committee must take note of. We were on oversight in Free State when I got an urgent call to say that the Western Cape Education Department was coming to fetch the equipment at the school and was coming to speak to the parents or the children, and yet there was no transport. They did that on that day. The schools were opening in January. No transport plan. The people that worked for the department was not the young people as that was working as assistants. They were not being, they haven't been spoken to in terms of further employment or their employment. All the points that was brought up by Mr. Ndlebe in terms of the context in which the department facilitates the closure has not been met in Seekoegat. Thus, there are a number, if Chair, of issues that I am raising with the committee that I want to add in supplementation to this report. And I want to, in this report that we have now before us, I propose the following additions, and I can send it to in writing to Llewellyn. The distance to the nearest towns mean that parents cannot join SGBs, they cannot attend school meetings, they cannot assist children in disciplinary hearings. And I also want to bring to notice, Pastor Willie spoke yesterday, and a month ago he spoke to me concerning a matter with one child that I at Seekoegat. The child has not been home. And the mother phoned the child to speak to the child. She has 2 children in that school, Seekoegat. The child did not want to speak to the parents. Didn't want to speak to the parents. And that's why I said when I was reading the letter about underlying safety and the wellness of children in the letter that I read. So the distance it's a huge distance. The transport issue that I raised as well, Chair. Why there was no transport plan in place is because these officials does not know that rural area, how difficult it is, that in some areas you're only able to travel with a cart and with a donkey cart. That's why it is such a problem. But they didn't even consider those challenges beforehand. And thus they had to, before the meeting with this committee, they went to go and fetch the head of the SGB to try and get her to travel with them to the different farms so that they could look at the transport plan. There was no transport plan in place. And in fact, he couldn't complete his journey because his bakkie got stuck, because that's how rural those areas are. In 1.3.4, the following should be added. In respect of younger children, no effort was made to consult with them through their parents, At 1.3.5, the Minister of Basic Education has answered in the House to a supplementary that several micro schools in the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape use multi-grade teaching and ICT to deliver quality education at the same or a better standard than independent micro schools. Seekoegat has a well-equipped computer room. Why wasn't this considered as an option? The Western Cape Education Department does not appear to have a process for consulting learners as is required by the Children's Act. The failure to consult renders the decision to close prima facie unconstitutional. And therefore, the recommendations that I would like to include is one, the committee, and if necessary, the parliamentary legal services to investigate the circumstances around the statements made to the committee by the WCED that the school was closed when the Gazette for its closure had only been signed in May 2022. By the way, 3 days before Debbie Schaefer left the previous MEC office. Second, the matter of Seekoegat be reported to the public protector for investigation to investigate the circumstances around the official closure of the school in May by the ex-MEC Schaefer when statements had been made that it was closed in January. 3, that the Seekoegat matter be referred to the Western Cape Child Commissioner to review especially the legislation, regulation and policies in the Western Cape to report on the degree to which child participation forms part of their school closure engagements. 4, that the committee requests the WCED to pioneer a process of independent mediation when a school is closed with the aim of reconciling and mediating between the WCED and stakeholders and to make recommendations to the MEC. An appeal hearing process to be put in place where the MEC is present at a hearing where oral submissions are made. The appeal process, just to add, where it comes to Seekoegat has been totally ignored. It has never been addressed in any replies. The WCED provides the committee with a detailed process by which school closures are handled, and that the WCED engages with the community to determine the best long-term solution for Seekoegat, including a cooperative school, homeschool center, hybrid public online school, independent school, leading to reopening as a public school, and a report back to the committee in 3 months on progress with a solution. In the interim, for the WCED provides subject matter experts and appoints an educator on a short-term contract, places 4 assistants on short-term contracts, includes Seekoegat on the National School Feeding Scheme, and releases the funds of the whole.
Chairperson.
Principal, just wait a minute, Honorable Sukers. Principal.
Yeah, I'm not electronically educated. I wanted just to raise a point of order briefly. I don't know where to press, hence I'm just interjecting. Can I apologize for this interjection? But basically what I want to bring forward is a point of order.
Which is?
Chairperson, I think in the first place, let me say, in the interest of time, it's already to 11 o'clock and we must be logging in no time. We should be logging in now in principle. I realize that Honorable Sukers, it's having new points added, which are adding to what was last presented. And I'm afraid after she has talked, we will be forced to respond and we don't have time. My point of order is two ways. Can we either adopt the report and note the additions, or we defer this to another meeting where it will be fairly be treated? Thank you very much.
That's your order is now a
problem.
No, not really a problem. Let me hear what Honorable Van der Walt has to say. I'll come back to your order, Principal.
Now,
Honorable Van der Walt.
Chairperson, thank you. My hand's been up for quite some time when Honorable Sukers asked permission to read a letter. I was going to propose that if the letter has been submitted to you before today, that letter accompany and be, circulated with the minutes or the report. I understand completely, because this is not the only school in the country where there are challenges. In every single province, there are similar provinces, challenges, and very, very rural areas. My concern, however, is the process in which we are dealing with this. When you discuss a report, you can either agree with the report or you can note your reservations to speak on it when a debate takes place. So now we are adding new things that is not part of that report, which should be raised in a debate in the House. My other concern is that maybe the legal people can give us an opinion, but I am of the opinion several action steps that Honorable Sukers has mentioned, as valid as they might be, is not for the committee to do. Like the community can go to court against the Western Cape, the community can go to the public protector, etc., etc., etc. I do not believe it is the duty of this committee, because we also have the separation of powers between a province and the national department. So maybe we can get a legal opinion on that. But I actually, with all due respect, and have a lot of emotions about this topic myself, in poor communities or rural communities, but we cannot just overrule the system and protocol and process that we as a committee must follow. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Honorable Sukers, your hand is up. What do you want to do now? Do you want to proceed or you want to respond to
I want to proceed, Chair, because I have a right as a member of this committee to make my, and it is up to you, Chair, to make to make a ruling on what was put by both those members. I want to conclude, Chair, and this meeting has been scheduled until 12:30. And I would want to note that the poor does not have a reprieve of courts, as is well known by everyone. This is the representative.
But look, Honorable Honors, so I understand I understand where you come from, but
yeah, members should.
No. Listen to us too. Yeah. Listen to us too. The hand of advance and not that is up, but I want you to just lower your hands, and I'll give Sukers an opportunity to finish her letter, and then we are going to come back to yourselves and have a ruling on this matter. Can you finish it? And take note that we must finish at 11, like I've said, not at 12:30, because of the mini plenary that we all are supposed to be attending.
I note that, Chair. I note that.
Can you proceed?
Yes, certainly, Chair. Chair, I would like the recommendation for a moratorium be placed on school closures in the Western Cape until proper constitutionally compliant procedures are in place. And for WCED, provide the committee all documentation related to the closure of Seekoegat. I'm repeating that one. I would like the WCED to provide us with all the documentation related to it. And in general, if the committee supports the call for a debate on the rural school closures, as was also mentioned now, by Honorable van der Walt, if that is what she was referring to, and then for school closures be included in the quarterly reports. For the Department of Basic Education, for the Portfolio Committee to conduct oversight over the school closure process, and for the rural framework to be shared with the committee. Fifthly, for a detailed report to be prepared for the Portfolio Committee Basic Education on the reasons why a framework is preferably to a policy regulation and legislation or a green and white paper process. And then I've only got 3 more points, Chair. The DBE provides the consultation process followed, especially with respect to consultation with learners to the Portfolio Committee of Basic Education, and for a mediation and appeal hearing process be recommended to all provinces, and for serious consideration to be given to a moratorium on school closures where stakeholders are opposed until these measures are in place. And lastly, for the DBE to convene an expert panel on rural education, including NGOs. And the issue of misleading of the committee is a very serious issue. And the statements that was made must be reviewed, Chair, that were made to this committee. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. That's now the members, that's now the amendments that Honorable Sukers is suggesting that must be part of this report. Honorable at once and followed by Honorable Notata. Honorable Notata.
Thank you so much, Chair. Chair, can I just check am I audible?
You are audible, but it seems like you are in the bathroom or something. Speak.
No, Chair, I'm in the airport lounge. Let me just maybe put this on here. Is that better, Chair?
Yeah, yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to get a clarity because, I mean, I totally understand the frustration from Honorable Sukers, and, very, very passionate about the topic. But my clarity is this: if we're dealing with a report that has been discussed in the committee, and certain inputs have been made and the department is presented and so on and so on, what is the correct process? Do we then now amend what is being put to the committee and make additional stuff? Because I understand that Honorable Sukers is bringing new information on this and is putting to the committee that certain resolutions should now be added to the report, on something that was not discussed, because whatever she's putting to the committee now has to actually be discussed in the committee, take a resolution on that. And now we're dealing with a report that's already being discussed and being processed. And now it's a matter of checking whether the contents of the report have been captured correctly from the process. So I just want to get a clarity from your side, Chair, because then, we must understand what is being asked of us so that when we do even deal with the report in the House, we know exactly what we're dealing with. So it's just a clarity from my side. If you can maybe provide guidance on that. Thanks.
Honorable at once.
Thank you, Chair. Load shedding has started.
And Eva.
Am I audible? I have load shedding that started now. Yeah, Vakala, Chair.
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay, no, thank you, Chair. Chair, I think we really can't, make additions to, the report that we dealt with, previously, and make new additions. But I feel that those points that Honorable Sukers is raising, they are valid, and I think we should allow her to refer them to the department or to the minister to respond to that. But we really need to, move with the report as we have done with all of the reports and petitions they came before our committee. But those points that are valid, I think she must just refer them to the relevant people who must respond to that, of which is the department. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Sukers, your hand is up again. Oh, is it a legacy hand?
No, it's not, Chair. I just want to respond to the two issues that was brought up.
Okay.
Firstly, Chair, this is an oversight committee of Parliament, right? And we have a constitutional duty to defend the poor. That is our duty. Secondly, this is new information. At the time when this was presented to the committee, it should actually be extremely concerning to this committee that a department came here and presented information, and then after the fact, information comes to light that needs to be questioned, that we have been presented that the school was closed. It has huge social implication to people that live in that community and that goes to that school. So it is my submission to this committee, regardless of what we feel or regardless of our political positions, that we need to consider that the information, our oversight duty. Secondly, that it was reopened, that new information came to light, and that there is a need to reopen the issue and for this committee to do its constitutional mandate and hold the department and the provincial department to account. The report, therefore, would be premature. I brought these additions not for any other reasons, not for emotion or any other, but for the singular duty that I represent a community, and these are the facts that they have been dealt with. That they have been dealing with and the manner in which they have been dealt with. So I have done that. I have brought it to the committee, and I submit that, Chair, to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, Dada, do you want to speak?
Yes,
Chair.
Yes, Chair. Yes, Chair. Chair, I think we need to follow the rules of Parliament. Yeah, I think now we're getting into a terrain that we can't control. As much as we've taken oath of office, we've all got a responsibility. I think we understand our responsibility. The process is very clear, Chair. In the rules of Parliament, it's very clear on what is required of us. If something is tabled to the committee, it's being discussed, recommendations have been made, it's either that a report is adopted or not. And if, for example, Honorable Seekoegat feels that in the case that she feels the way, she can object to the report, that it's not a true reflection of what's going on, and the points that can be made, and those will be minuted when that report is being tabled in the House. But for us to now reopen a discussion on the report is not the correct process. And Chair, you know the rules. Honorable Sukers, I believe, knows the rules too, that we've got a process that we need to follow as Parliament. You can't just arbitrarily decide how we deal with reports and change things around, because at the end of the day, it's going to be problematic, even that report being sent to the House, because then it has followed the incorrect process. So I think it's important for us to consider that. The points that she makes are valid. Nobody's denying that the points that are being made and the information that is shared is being valid, but I think it's correct. It's important for us to always make sure that we're on the right side of the law, since we are legislators. So I think it's important for us to do that, Chair. And that's just something that you need to consider in your ruling. That's all.
No, that's fine. It's 20 to 11 now, and I think I've tried to allow everybody to speak, and at some point we will have to take a decision. Honorable Lizia, now your hand is up also.
No, apologies, Chair. I wanted to second what Honorable Nodada was saying on the processes of adopting or rejecting a report. And Chair, I wanted to move that we adopt the report as it is. I'm just moving for the adoption, Chair. I think we've labored enough on this point. And if Honorable Sukers is not happy with some of the contents that she believes should have been in the report, but they are not, I think there are processes to follow. So Chair, I want to second Honorable Noda and move for the adoption of the report.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Tsiye. Like I was saying, that the advantage of Honorable Sukers of being the one that has written the petition and also being part of the committee, and also knowing the community that she's representing, is that she's got also a time, to also speak and being part of the as being part of the committee. But one thing which I think in the letter that you have written to us, there is a word minister which is referred to. I'm not sure the minister you are referring to, minister, because MECs in the Western Capes are referred to as ministers. And I think that needs to be corrected, because we are dealing with one minister as this committee, which is the Minister of Basic Education. And then the other ministers in the Western Cape, probably in brackets, then it would have to be corrected. That is the MEC in the Western Cape. But I also want to agree with I think it was I'm not sure which member has raised the issue of what you are recommending, that the committee must speak to the public protector. I don't think that is our duty. We cannot draw in the public protector. The public, which is the members of that community, would have to write letters to the public protector so that the public protector deals with the issue of that committee as it is. But I want also to be satisfied, and other members to be satisfied, that we have done, I think, more than justice to deal with this petition. Remember, we had the first meeting where all of us, we did not understand what this rural policy deals with. We did not take a decision in that first meeting, but we rather said, let us have the department to come and clarify to us what this rural policy deals with, and they must do it in a context of your petition as Sukers. So we have then had a second meeting, which we had the presentation, and I think that is the issue. You are probably not satisfied with how the presentation was made from the side of the department. But we cannot change how we deal with issues of reports as the committee. We have tabled the report as what was discussed. Now, ours is to make corrections, like I have said. Is this what has happened? Yes or no? Or if we think that there is something that has left, we just add that. But to add totally new things into the report, I don't think that it's going to assist. So what we need to do now, which Honorable Litsie has led us, is to adopt this report. Can we get a second person to second the report? Any member that is seconding the report?
Honorable Chair, I would like to second the Honorable Litsie that we adopt the report as is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yabo. We don't have much time. Llewellyn, can you take us to fourth quarterly report quickly? We've got only 10 minutes. This is the last week. We are going to be on recess for a week. We are coming back on the 10th of October. This is the program. We are going to be briefed on the expenditure patterns in respect of infrastructure, in respect of conditional grants, and then the equity in education. And then we are going to have 3 meetings actually on the 11th. And then 11:30 to 1:30, we are going to have a meeting from the Auditor General. And then 4 to 6, we are going to have a meeting by the DP Internal Audit Committee on audit outcomes of the Department of Basic Education. On the 18th, we will be briefed by the department on their BRRR. And then on the 25th, we are going to be briefed on examination readiness by the department in Umalusi. And on the 1st of November, we are going to be briefed on the Bella Bill, on the written submissions and oral submissions. On the 1st and on the 8th, we are going to have the oral submissions from these stakeholders that are mentioned here. And the 15th, we are going to continue with that process. And the 22nd, we are going to continue with that process. All these stakeholders are stakeholders that have asked for oral submissions to the committee. So we are going to have meetings to allow them to raise their issues. So that is the program of the fourth quarter. I must just mention that with regards to the Bella Bill process, we are trying to get, we got about 18,000 submissions, and up to this far, the team has processed about 3,000 only. I had a meeting with Mr. Bandi. I asked him that we need human resource because our people alone, it doesn't look like they will be able to process everything before we come back. And he has agreed that they are going to give us some people so that whilst we are on recess, they are doing the, I mean, they are classifying the submissions, whether they are oral or written. And what is the other possibility is that when we start to have hearings from all these stakeholders, we might ask the chair of chairs for extra time, which is when we start to deal with them, we will have a meeting in our normal time, which is 9:30. But the possibility is that at night as well, we might have meetings when we deal with these stakeholders, all of them. So we might be working twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. For now, these are the stakeholders that have asked. So we don't know in the other 15,000 submissions, what is there, what is, if it's this, they are still these stakeholders, it's fine. But if there are additions, of course, they will then put additions. But as for till to date, these are the stakeholders that have asked for to present their issues on the Bella Bill. So take note that it is only 3,000 that has been processed. We still need 15,000 more to be processed. And then on the 29th, we are going to have a presentation and a draft of the strategic plan. Yes, and then we will be heading to a closure of the fourth report. That is the program as is. Just members to take note that we might work overtime when we come back, when we deal with the oral submissions. Can we adopt the, what do you call it? The program? Honorable Atwans?
I move to adopt the program, Chair.
Thank you. Any seconder? Papa Bantu Bamkile, any seconder?
Yeah.
Honorable Litia.
My network was giving me problem. I was trying to raise my too long. It's here now. I the program chairperson, while know that our residents guest.
I answer Kuva. I can't hear you. You are seconding the report.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
No, I was saying, Chairperson, I was trying to raise my hand, but my network was unstable. I moved to second the program whilst noting that our resident visitor Thabo is in the meeting.
All right. No, thank you very much. Members, thank you very much for your time that you have made for us to adopt this report. Let me wish you a fruitful week, which will be a recess to go and be in your constituency offices, or rather do join political programs on the ground till we meet on the 11th of October. And when we come back, just note, we will ask all the energy from members, because we will be starting to deal with the issues of Bella Bill on these platforms to deal with all stakeholders. We are hoping and we are so praying that we finish the oral submissions by the next quarter, so that when we come back next year, we will be able to do the public hearings. Honorable Llewellyn, your hand is up.
Sorry, Chairperson, it'll be a miss of me. Just 1 minute. We have a new member of the team, Ms. Dolly Mokgusana, who is now the committee assistant to the portfolio committee chair. I just thought we would want to welcome her. Thank you. I should have done that at the start of the meeting. I apologize.
Welcome, Dolly. Can you open your video? Let us just see you.
I've opened it, Chair.
Thank you very much, sis. Thank you. She's replace
That's correct, Chairperson.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so this is our committee's assistant now. Welcome. Hopefully we will be able to work together with us. We are not a very difficult committee. Except for Litsie and Principal, they are the ones that talks too much. So when they talk too much, at least to know that they talk too much. Otherwise, we are very fine working together committee. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Members.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Larry Patela Salary SNT.
Welcome.
SNT no.
No, that we're not.
Yeah, I wanted to say as long as she delivers SNT on time, she'll be fine with that.
No, all is thank you for everyone. Next quarter, I'm not going to talk away. I'll keep quiet throughout and through.
Don't worry, that shall take over that road.
Yeah, I'm being blackmailed that together with Lydia, we are monopolizing here.
Yeah, we need a new blood. Yabo must come in.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, change sheets.